Because most policies on the left are supported by most people, even by those who don't consider themselves on the left. The issue is the framing.
Keep it 100, I be feeling like Campbell soup over white rice, baked chicken with the skin on, yeah, Lowry's with black pepper, I'm fully seasoned with laughter.
There's a massive issue on the left, and I've discussed this briefly in some of my previous videos, but in this video I want to delve deep into it. So the issue on the left is that we're losers, and I'm tired of losing. And I'm saying this as someone who is on the left. So the point of this video is to look at the reason why the left continually loses, even when the policy proposals that we support are extremely popular. Meanwhile, policies that Republicans support are quite unpopular, yet they still win. I'm going to use two policies as a prime example of this. The policies that I'm going to be discussing are the Defund the Police movement and right to work. Provisions in what would be a Defund the Police bill is quite popular. It's supported by 63% of Americans. This includes 83% of Democrats, 60% of Independents, and even 43% of Republicans. What Defund the Police essentially is reallocating some funds from police budgets into resources and social services that communities feel is necessary for their particular community. That's essentially what Defund the Police is. Yet, when people are asked directly about do they support Defund the Police, it's supported by only 18% of Americans. Now, let's compare that to right to work laws. Right to work laws are anti-union legislation, yet it's supported by 71% of the public. However, 53% of Americans support unions. This means that many people who support unions also support anti-union legislation. So why is this? Where's the disconnect? The issue is not the bill itself. The issue is the framing. For the most part, you can get the public to support any bill, even when the provisions in the bill is extremely unpopular. The way you get the public to support the bill is the way it's framed. This can be seen clearly through right to work laws. Right to work laws, when implemented, on average reduces workers' pay by 12%. And no one is in favor of reducing their own pay by 12%. Yet right to work laws are supported by 71% of the population. But the reason why it's supported by so many people is because the right to work just sounds good. People believe that they have the right to work. After reading these polls and these data sets, I tried an experiment. My mom is someone who's not political whatsoever. She doesn't really pay attention to politics. And that's true for the vast majority of people in this country. Half of the country does not vote. That tells you a little bit about how many people just don't really pay attention to politics. And it's not their fault. But like I said, half the people don't vote. So I tested this on someone who is a non-voter, my mom, and who doesn't pay attention to politics, which is also my mom. I asked her, does she support Defund the Police? Immediately she said, no, she doesn't. I asked her why. She told me because she doesn't believe in getting rid of the police force. Then I asked her a separate question. Does she support right to work? And she said, yes, she does. I asked her why. She said because she believes people should have the right to work. After that, I asked her two more questions. The first question was, does she support reallocating some funds from the police into social services that's needed for the community? And she said she does. Then the next question I asked her is, does she support a piece of legislation that would reduce her pay by 12%? And she said she doesn't. And of course, that's what the vast majority of people would say. So this is to drive home the point. The issue isn't whether the provisions in the bill are supported by most people, because most policies on the left are supported by most people, even by those who don't consider themselves on the left. The issue is the framing. So let's look at defund the police. There was a poll that came out recently that showed 63% of Americans support the police. So, like I said with the framing, the slogan defund the police is not very popular. Most people, when they hear the term defund the police, they think it means getting rid of the police force. And most people do not support that. So, in order for a bill like defund the police to gain any popularity and gain traction, you're not going to win by having the incorrect slogan, even if the provisions in such a bill is supported by the vast majority of people. The slogan has to be on point in order for it to gain support. This is why both Republicans and Democrats, they say they want to reform Social Security, because they know if they say they want to make cuts to Social Security, it would not be supported by anyone. But saying reform makes it sound much better. When you say you're going to reform something, it seems like you're going to make an improvement to it. So, reforming Social Security, while it's still unpopular because most people caught on to what it means at this point, it's still much more popular than a politician saying, let's cut Social Security, because absolutely no one agrees with that. An example of a bill that's supported by the vast majority of people and has great framing is Medicare for All. There was a poll that came out recently that said 69% of Americans support a Medicare for All bill. And the reason why Medicare for All is supported by the vast majority of people is because, like I said, the framing is there. Medicare is one of the most popular laws in the history of America. So when you say Medicare, but have it for all or everyone, it's going to be supported by the vast majority of people. And this is despite the propaganda against Medicare for All by both Democrats and Republicans. It's supported by so many because of its name. So if the left truly wants to start winning, it's all about the framing. That's all I gotta say for this video. If you like the content, like and subscribe to the channel, turn on the post notification, because if you don't turn it on, YouTube will not show you my videos. But I gotta leave you with one more thing before the video is over, and that's the word of the day. The word of the day for today is framing. Framing is spelled F-R-A-M-I-N-G. The definition of framing is the construct and presentation of fact or issue framed from a particular perspective. So now I will attempt to use framing in a sentence. In order for the left to win on any policy, it's the framing that will make the policy popular, not necessarily the provision of that policy. Hopefully I use that sentence correctly. So again, if you like the content, like and subscribe to the channel, turn on the post notification, you know I post videos in the future, because YouTube will not show you my videos if you do not do so. And use framing in the sentence in the comment section below so I can watch the video to the end. And, oh, one other thing, two other things. I have a Patreon account now. My Patreon account is patreon.com/keepit100dre. If you want to donate anywhere between $3 to $10, it's going to help the channel grow a whole lot, and I would really appreciate it. And check out my George Floyd documentary. It's a documentary that details the system that allowed George Floyd to be murdered, how far we have come, and how much further we have to go in order for progress to be made. It's going to be linked on the end screen. So that's all I gotta say for this video. 100% is peace.
Well, I've been stacking up. Nah, really that ain't accurate, cause I just spent my whole damn advance in the past couple months just to compensate for times we ain't have enough. Ooh.